Hey everybody, Steven here, and today looking at a new wireless pair of earbuds from SoundPEATS. This is the T3. So I've used the Air 3 and the H1, and I've actually done reviews for these on the channel here, but this one's the T3. So like all the other reviews, I'm obviously going to take this to the gym and I'm going to use these for a while and then come back and talk about the good and the bad with it. But I also want to make just a slight comparison and just talk about the differences between this and these two other products as well with this. But let's get this thing unboxed here. So packaging is always good with the SoundPEATS wireless earbuds. So opening this up, we have our manual, and these all kind of look the same in that they just kind of like sit really nicely in the package here. Let's pop this out, and then we should have, I'm assuming, Type-C charging cable here, which appears to be the case. Okay, so with this one we do have rubberized tips. That is nice. With the Air 3, that is not the case. And then our short USB Type-C charging cable here. So I already ruined the sticker peel there, but this is it right here. So a little bit different than the other ones. This looks like a light ring around it as well. That's interesting. So I'm wondering if that actually lights up while it charges. So just looking at the difference between the cases here, I mean, these all, that'll be hard to actually showcase with this, but they all look vastly difference in sizes here. But this one is thicker than the Air 3. So popping this open, these just sit right in the middle. So those look really, really good if this will actually highlight that. There we go. So shouldn't be hard to actually connect these. I don't want to do that just yet because I do want to cover these specs really quick, and then I'll cut over to actually using these. So with this, obviously we have the touch controls. In terms of the specifications, and I do like in the manual they actually tell you what the touch controls are going to be, because sometimes it is a little bit different between all of these, right? Even within the same brand, they may be a little bit different. But yeah, that is a battery indicating light. So green is going to be 100% to 50%, yellow is 49 to 10%, and then anything less than 10% is going to be red. Charging status on that, stay on red is less than 10%, stay on yellow 11% to 49%, stay on green 50 to 99%, and then when it's at 100%, it'll actually just shut off. So that's how you know it is fully charged with that. So let's see, does it not give me the specs in this? Because it just jumped to another language on me with that. It may not actually give the specs with this. That's going to be a bummer. They usually actually have the specifications in here with this. Alright, so I have the information pulled up off of their Amazon listing for these. I don't like that it's not in the user manual, and then it's also not just on the box. I figured that would be something that it would just have at least a little bit of information on the box, and it doesn't have that. But let's cover these really, really quick with this. So with this, these are 10mm drivers in this, so it should get plenty loud. The Air 3 is one of the loudest wireless earbuds I've used, and the H1 gets plenty loud as well. So I think this is going to have good sound with it, but we have that. We have Bluetooth 5.2, so it should have that crystal clear connection, and it should give you a good amount of distance if you're going to leave your phone somewhere and then walk away. With this, so it should actually cancel unwanted noise by up to 24 decibels and stay at 15 decibels in the 40 to 700 hertz. So you have that. So essentially it's trying to filter out any noise, any type of ambient noise outside of these. And with this is if you have the active noise cancellation turned on. So that's what that is. And it also mentions that there's like a light mode to that and then just a normal mode. So I'm curious to actually test that out to see how that does. So you also have transparency mode. I like that. I've mentioned before on these that I ride my bike and I have my earbuds in, and especially if these have rubberized tips to them. With that, they're already inherently noise canceling. So I am curious to see how that is. Maybe their light is just, they're saying that because they have the rubberized tips, And then when you turn it on, that's just kind of the normal with this. Because yeah, any of the ones that I've used that have a rubberized tip, that's just the case. It's inherently noise canceling because it's sealing off your ear canal, which creates a problem when I'm riding my bike because I need to be able to hear if there's cars around me. So I'm curious to actually, one, see if there's a difference with those, and then two, the transparency mode. So actually I can actually hear if there's stuff around me, which is a big deal for me. Sound AI, so smooth connection with this. So it's supposed to actually help cancel out noise around you in terms of the microphone. So when you're talking to somebody, it filters some of that noise out. So you should have that crystal clear sound on the other end. If somebody's talking to you, they won't hear as much of that ambient noise around you. So curious to try that out as well. So I think that is it for that. With this, waterproof, it has the IPX4 rating, which is not waterproof. They do mention that. That's just the rating itself. But with this, dust and sweat resistance. Usually I see a lot of these with IPX 6 to 8, so this is on the lower spectrum. I think the Air 3 is IPX4 as well though. So, I mean, obviously you're not going to go swimming with wireless earbuds, but if you go work out or anything like that, it shouldn't be an issue there. Playtime, 5.5 hours with the earbuds, and then you get 2 charges out of the case. So a total of 16.5 hours. That is surprising considering I think the Air 3 is a little bit better than that, and it's a smaller case, a lot smaller case. So I can't remember what the H1 is, but like the ball-tuned ones, they're like 30 to 40 for the ones that I typically have reviewed here on the channel. They have some that I believe are in the 20s, but most are in that 30-hour range, and this is half of that. So bigger case, but less battery. That is a little bit concerning, just because I don't know if it's wasted space within the case here, that they just didn't want to put the larger battery so that you could get, or they wanted this to stay light, because I've mentioned the Vankyo ones that has like 100 or something hours of playback time with it, because you get so many charges out of the case, but that case is heavy, like really heavy. So it's kind of a nuisance if you have it in your pocket. But once again, I believe the Air 3 actually, it being a smaller case, has more battery life, or recharges essentially with that battery life, than this has. So a little bit disappointing with the playback time on this, but I think for most people it's going to be fine. It'll last you through the week, and it does have the USB Type-C charging cable, but I'm not seeing any quick charge function with this, meaning you plug it in for 10 minutes, you get an hour of playtime or anything like that. I'm assuming you probably get something like that regardless of the fact that it's not mentioning quick charge on this, because a lot of these take about 2 hours to charge the whole case. It doesn't say that on here, but that's just kind of been across the board for any of these. That's generally what it is, regardless of the battery life with it, right? So I'm assuming that's the case here, 1 to 2 hours to get that full charge, and then yeah, you're gonna get that 16.5 hours total with this. So that should be it for all of these on this. Yeah, so it mentions light noise cancellation, filter the light noises such as computer and air conditioning in the office, and then deep noise cancellation, cancel out the car noise, people talk, and low frequency booming noises while on the subway, on the train, on the plane. So, and then I mentioned the transparency mode with this as well. So you're going to press and hold the left button for 1.5 seconds with this. But I wonder, because it's mentioning this, if you actually get light, deep, and then the transparency mode with this. So we'll see on that. So now these are the specifications. Now I need to actually use this thing. So we're going to go to the gym, do some work around the house, because I got plenty to do around the house, and then in about a week or so I'm going to do the second portion, and I'll talk about what I like, what I don't like about this, and then kind of wrap everything up. So let's go ahead and cut over to that now. So after using these for the past week and a half, I gotta say these are pretty solid wireless earbuds. Initially I was worried the ANC and transparency modes weren't any good, but I put them through some more tests and could notice a difference. So let's get into what I like about these first, and the big one here is that these have the best bass out of all the wireless earbuds I've used. The rest have sounded good, but this just has that little extra kick to it, so if you like bass with your music, this would be a great option for you. These feel great with the rubber tips, and just with those you get a great amount of noise cancellation, which I do like when I'm working out and don't want to be distracted. The active noise cancellation mode is good after testing it more, and it will help you when you just want to hear your music, whether you're working out for instance, or you're on a train or a bus and you don't want to hear everybody around you. These do get plenty loud, by the way. They're not the loudest I've used, but it gets up there and they can hang with the other earbuds I've used that are loud. You could wear these on a plane, for instance, and hear them just fine, which is my go-to test for any earbud in terms of if it can get loud enough, because it has to overcome that ambient noise in order to actually still be able to hear it. They work great for my workouts, and they never felt like they were going to fall out of my ear, and they can resist any sweat, so I'm covered there also. The AI environmental noise cancellation does a great job at eliminating background noise when on calls too, and worked better than I expected, even when right next to my very loud PC fans. And last, the battery life with the earbuds themselves, not the charging case, but just the actual earbuds, are solid at that 5.5 hours also. So now that I've covered the good, let's get into the bad here. First, the case is bulkier, which I wouldn't mind as much if the battery in it was larger, but unfortunately it is not. I would have liked one extra charge to be there, bringing the total battery life to 22 hours instead of the 16.5. The case is just too big to not have a bigger battery. Next, the transparency mode is decent, but they feel like they're around 75% of what they should be. If it would allow about 25% more pass-through, I think it would be a solid mode, but right now it's just okay. I can still hear around me, but it's just not enough that I personally would like. It doesn't help me hear cars when I'm riding my bike, which would be the main thing that I would want to use this for. It does a little bit better with someone talking to you, but even that still needs a little bit more pass-through. You'll most likely need to just take out an earbud, even if you had the music turned all the way down, just to clearly hear someone. And that's really it for my negatives here, but I did want to cover calls, which to me is more of a gray area, as it's the same with all of the wireless earbuds I've used. They sound good, but someone can still tell that you're on a device. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the AI does help with canceling out some ambient noise, which is great, but it still sounds like you're far away from the mic, and that's just not something that I've noticed with any of these where that's not the case. On your end, the audio sounds fine with hearing the person you're talking to, but I do wish these could get slightly louder here, but it's not a deal breaker. So overall, I think these are going to be great for people who love listening to music and want to hear more bass, and people who go to the gym and want to get in the zone and block out anything around them with the ANC. I did game with these a little bit and they sound good, but they also don't have a low latency mode like the Air 3 and H1. Speaking of those, this is the cheapest of the three options at $39.99 and feels like it fits in the middle in terms of its specs and aesthetics. I would take the H1 if I play more mobile games or like small earbuds, and I would take the Air 3 if I like extremely loud earbuds and don't want rubber tips, something essentially more like the Apple AirPod. Well, that's going to be it for this one, and if you have any questions about these and I didn't cover it in this video, let me know in the comment section and I'll answer that for you there. I'll have a link for this in the description so you can pick them up if you want, and they currently have a 10% off coupon you can use, so it's a good time to grab them. If you like the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me, and as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.